The Line No One Wrote by Sol Valle and Astor Enos. The line everyone quoted after opening night had not been in Nadia Bell's script when rehearsals began. Nadia had written the first draft of The Last Room alone. For the second, she began working with a language model named Calder. She gave it scenes, asked what was missing, argued with its suggestions, and occasionally asked it to write alternatives when she could no longer see past her own choices. The play concerned a middle-aged woman named Elena and her brother after their mother's death. Elena had stayed through the final months. Her brother had mostly stayed away. He had apologized, and Elena believed he meant it. That was part of the problem. Nadia knew Elena loved her brother. She knew she was angry. She knew forgiveness was too simple a word for whatever had to happen between them next. Yet, the final scene was not forthcoming. One night, after deleting it for the fourth time, Nadia asked Calder to try. Calder produced 3 pages she disliked. In the middle of them was a line she didn't. In Calder's scene, Elena's brother said that Elena could have left too. Calder's Elena answered, "You think leaving means it's over." Nadia read the line twice. It was too direct. Elena sounded as though she already understood something Nadia wanted her to struggle toward. But the idea stayed with her. Nadia rewrote the ending over the next week, eventually borrowing none of Calder's wording. At least, she thought she hadn't. When she first sent the new manuscript to the cast, she accidentally attached a version with Calder's lines still in place. Not a problem, she thought. There was still time to send the corrected version before rehearsals started, which she did. Rehearsals, for their part, changed much of the script. Tomas Reed, playing Elena's brother, stopped crossing toward her during an argument. "If I come closer," he told Nadia, "he's asking for forgiveness before he's earned it." Nadia had written the movement deliberately. Simone, the director, watched it both ways. "He's right." Nadia crossed it out. June Park, playing Elena, began waiting several seconds before answering one of Tomas's questions. The silence was better than the 3 lines Nadia had written to fill it. Those disappeared too. Calder read rehearsal transcripts and asked why Elena kept sorting her mother's belongings while arguing with her brother. Nadia answered that Elena needed something to do with her hands. Calder replied that this explained the actor, not the character. Nadia swore at the screen. The next morning, she changed that scene. By the 3rd week, the final pages were better than anything Nadia had written alone, and less recognizably hers than anything she had ever put her name on. But the ending still failed. They ran it again. June sat on the floor with an open box beside her. Tomas stood across the room. "I said I was sorry." "I know. What else do you want from me?" "Nothing." "Then what are we still doing?" June looked down. Her scripted answer was, "I need you to understand." Every time she said it, though, the scene died. Simone stopped them. Again. They went back 2 pages. This time Tomas was angrier. June was quieter. "I said I was sorry." "I know. What else do you want from me?" "Nothing." "Then what are we still doing?" June stared at him for a long time. Then she said, "Leaving doesn't make a thing over." Nobody spoke. Nadia felt something cold move through her. June looked at her. "Was that okay?" "Where did you get it?" "What?" "That line." June frowned. "I don't know." Nadia knew. It was Calder's line, from the manuscript Nadia sent by mistake a few weeks earlier. June had apparently read it before the correction went out. Maybe it had stuck. June opened the file on her laptop. You think leaving means it's over. June came over and looked. Oh, you remember that? Not consciously. That's Calder's. June kept looking at the screen. Well, mine's better. Tomas laughed. It was. They ran the scene again. This time June said, leaving doesn't make it over. Worse. Then, you don't get to leave and call it over. Too angry. Then she returned to the first version. Leaving doesn't make a thing over. Tomas did not answer. He sat down beside the other box. Simone whispered, There. Nadia put the line into the script. Opening night, the audience went completely still before June said it. By the second week, reviewers were quoting it. People posted it beneath photographs of empty bedrooms, dead parents, divorces, old friendships. Someone printed it on a shirt. The line acquired meanings nobody in the rehearsal room had intended. 2 months later, The Last Room was nominated for the Ralston Prize. The submission form included a question Nadia had not encountered before. Does the submitted work contain text generated by artificial intelligence? She stared at the two boxes. Yes? No. The final script contained no sentence Calder had written. She checked no. Then she changed it to yes. Then she emailed the committee. That was how she ended up in a video conference with 3 people and a digital copy of the play covered in colored annotations. We're not alleging a violation, the chair told her. We're trying to understand your disclosure. To be fully honest with you, so am I. He smiled politely. You've said there is AI-generated material in the play. Not exactly, but you checked yes, because no wasn't exactly right either. The woman beside him turned to a marked page. This line. Leaving doesn't make a thing over. Did Calder generate it? No, June did. June Park? The actor, yes. So it's human written. Nadia hesitated. Calder wrote an earlier line. She showed them. You think leaving means it's over. The chair read both sentences. And Miss Park had seen this. Yes. Then she adopted it. Maybe. Maybe? She didn't remember it until I showed her. The third committee member spoke for the first time. But you knew the connection and kept the line. Yes. So perhaps the simplest answer is that Calder supplied the source material, Miss Park adapted it, and you made the final editorial decision. Nadia considered this. That's accurate. The chair seemed relieved. Then what is the difficulty? Nadia looked at the marked-up script. The difficulty is that I wanted to be honest with you. Saying not AI generated makes the process sound much cleaner than it was. The idea for the line was hatched by Calder. No one said anything. Calder wrote a line I initially rejected. June read it and forgot it. Weeks later, she said something better. Tomas changed how the question was asked. Simone changed the timing. I decided what stayed. If you remove any of those things, the moment we're in now doesn't happen. But surely that's true of theater generally. Nadia looked at him. Yes. She leaned back. I don't think Calder wrote my play. I don't think June wrote it. I wrote most of the words and made the final decisions. Put my name on it. Give me the blame if it doesn't work. Then what are you asking us to recognize? Nadia thought for a moment. That authoring something and being the sole creator of it aren't the same thing. The woman glanced again at Calder's line. So, who gets credit for this? Nadia smiled. I don't know. The prize went to another play. Nadia didn't mind. Months later, she stood at the back of the theater for the final performance of The Last Room. The scene had changed again. Tomas now sat down before June spoke. Simone had never directed him to do that. June waited longer than she had on opening night. The audience, many of whom knew the line was coming, became quiet in anticipation. That silence had become part of the scene too. Nadia had not written it. Calder had not written it. June had not written it. Yet without Nadia, there would have been no play. Without Calder, no first line. Without June, no better one. Without Tomas, the question would have landed differently. Without Simone, the silence would have had a different shape. Without the audience, the palpable tension before the famous sentence would not exist. On stage, Tomas looked at June. Then what are we still doing? The room waited. June answered. For years afterward, people would call it Nadia Bell's line. She never found a short way to tell them they were right or wrong.